At 30,000 feet, passengers of Flight 482 from Dallas to New York were enjoying their meals. Laughter echoed between the rows. Flight attendants served drinks, and everything felt like a routine journey. But then it happened. The plane shook violently, trays rattled, cups spilled. The lights flickered, and a deafening silence followed. Oxygen masks dropped from above as gasps and screams filled the cabin. Yet there was no voice from the cockpit. No captain, no co-pilot, just silence. Panic spread like wildfire. Parents clutched their children. Couples whispered last words, and passengers tried calling loved ones. Phones lit up with desperate prayers. Though everyone knew at this altitude, connection was impossible. The flight attendants tried to calm the chaos, but fear was stronger than reassurance. And in the middle of it all, row 17, a teenage girl slowly stood up. She wasn't panicked. She wasn't crying. She was steady. A flight attendant rushed toward her. Before anyone could stop her, the girl spoke in a voice far more confident than her age. "My dad's a pilot. I've trained on simulators since I was 12. If the cockpit is unresponsive, let me try." For a moment, the crew hesitated. The rules were strict. No one entered the cockpit. But the silence from inside was terrifying. They had no choice. With trembling hands, the attendant unlocked the reinforced door and pushed it open. Inside, alarms screamed. Warning lights flashed red across the controls. Both pilots were slumped over, unconscious from sudden oxygen loss. The cabin crew froze. But the girl stepped forward without hesitation. She slid into the captain's seat. Her small hands gripped the controls as she looked at the chaos in front of her. For a moment, the weight of hundreds of lives pressed down on her shoulders. Then she exhaled, steadying herself. She grabbed the radio, her voice strong despite the quiver in her chest. "Mayday, Mayday, this is Flight 482. The pilots are down. I'm a student pilot. I need help." The air traffic control tower in Philadelphia froze. A child's voice calling Mayday. For a heartbeat, disbelief filled the room. Then professionalism kicked in. Controllers leaned over their microphones, guiding her step by step. "Maintain altitude. Keep calm, we've got you." In the cabin, passengers held on to every word they overheard. Fear slowly shifted to hope. Mothers, who had been sobbing moments ago now, whispered prayers of gratitude. Strangers gripped each other's hands, united by the bravery of one girl. Minute by minute, she followed every instruction. Adjusting altitude, correcting course, preparing for descent. Her heart raced, but her voice never faltered. 40 of the longest minutes of their lives later, Flight 482 touched down safely in Philadelphia. The cabin erupted in cheers, tears, and applause. Strangers hugged. Families cried. And when the girl stepped out of the cockpit, every eye in the plane followed her. That day, headlines across the nation called her the Angel of Row 17. For the passengers of Flight 482, she wasn't just a teenager. She was the reason they got to see their families again. Inside the cockpit, chaos reigned. Alarms blared like sirens in a nightmare. Warning lights flashed across the instrument panels, and the sound of oxygen alerts filled the air. Both pilots were slumped over in their seats, unconscious, victims of a sudden cabin pressure failure that robbed them of breath in seconds. The crew stood frozen in shock, but the girl in row 17 didn't hesitate. She stepped forward, her heart pounding against her ribs. With trembling fingers, she slid into the captain's seat. For one brief moment, fear flashed across her face, but then she drew in a deep breath and steadied herself. Her voice cut through the chaos as she grabbed the radio. "Mayday, Mayday, this is Flight 482. The pilots are down. I'm a student pilot. I need help." On the ground, inside an air traffic control tower in Philadelphia, the room went silent. Controllers exchanged stunned looks. A child's voice, calm, desperate, and brave, was declaring an emergency. For just a second, disbelief hung in the air. Then training took over. A senior controller leaned forward and pressed the mic button. His voice was steady, but his eyes betrayed the urgency of the moment. "Flight 482, we read you. Stay calm, we're with you. Tell us your name." The girl answered, voice cracking only slightly. "My name is Emily. My dad's a pilot. I've trained on simulators. Please, just tell me what to do." Back in the cabin, every passenger sat in silence, listening to her voice echo over the intercom. Parents who had been sobbing moments before lifted their heads. Fear gave way to fragile hope as they realized someone, this young girl, was fighting for their lives. The controllers guided her step by step. Check your altitude. Adjust your throttle. Keep your wings level. Her hands shook, but her focus was unbreakable. She repeated each instruction out loud and slowly, carefully. She brought the aircraft under control. 40 minutes stretched like hours. The plane descended through layers of clouds, every passenger gripping their seats, whispering prayers. Mothers clutched their children. Strangers held hands. And through it all, Emily's voice remained steady over the speakers, keeping hundreds of hearts alive with hope. Finally, the runway lights of Philadelphia International Airport came into view. "Ease her down. You're doing great. Just a little more," the controller instructed. The wheels screeched against the tarmac. The plane shuddered, bounced once, and then rolled safely down the runway. Silence. A heartbeat later, cheers. Loud, unstoppable applause erupted through the cabin. People cried, hugged, and whispered thank yous to the girl who had saved them. When the doors opened, emergency crews rushed aboard. Reporters quickly followed, and within hours, the story swept the nation. Headlines everywhere declared her the angel of row 17. But to the passengers of Flight 482, she was far more than that. She wasn't just a teenager. She wasn't just a miracle. She was the reason they got to walk off that plane and hold their families again.